Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Anjana Gopika Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Anjana Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. It's Krishna Smita Devi Dasi from Charlotte. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shama Gauri Dasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Shama Gauri Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Leela Mataji from Mumbai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prem Leela Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you for this wonderful Zoom meeting you have organized.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining and giving your association. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Amriti Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj. This is Preeti Vilasini Dasi from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sita Preeti Devi Dasi from Dallas.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Vrinda.
Dining bus.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and all the assembled devotees. Hindu from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji, is Maharaj on the call, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. This is Radhika.
Hare Krishna, Radhika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Sundari Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Sundari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Lavanya from Dallas, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Lavanya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I'm going to leave the call.
Hare Krishna. It's recording. Mataji is recording on. Mataji, shall I start?
Hold on. We need to check if Maharaj has come. Meanwhile, just everyone just wait. We'll have to wait till Maharaj comes. And if how do we know if Maharaj comes? We'll have to. Okay, can everyone just be on mute? I'm disabling mute all, but please be courteous and please be on mute yourself. Hare Krishna Mataji, yeah. Vinita Gandharvika Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, can you disable mute all?
Okay. Yes, Mataji.
And everyone, can you be on mute by yourself?
Can you please mute all? I still see some microphones are on. Please yourself.
Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, can you please mute, personally mute everybody who are unmuting themselves?
I'm doing that.
We just need a,
Oh,
one
how
smart.
do we know Maharaj is there? Because if he is on mute, then
Yeah,
I saw Maharaj
yeah,
just
Maharaj has come. Now, Mataji, can everyone go on mute all? Maharaj has come.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, Maharaj. Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to the conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj to enlighten us on topic constant chanting, the way of success for all.
Hare Krishna. We are extremely fortunate to have the association of His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaja in our Bhakti Sangha call today. With a lifetime of seva to Hari Guru and Vaishnavas worldwide, His Holiness Giriraj Swami needs no introduction. However, it shall be my honor to attempt to summarize His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaja's projects in a couple of minutes. His Holiness Giriraj Swami is a senior disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and a sannyasi and an initiating guru. Maharaja has disciples worldwide, including India, Europe, South Africa, and US. Maharaja continues to guide disciples and well-wishers and gives classes, presentations at japa retreats and workshops around the world. His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaja has served as the president of SCON Bombay and trustee of the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. He has made many significant contributions to Prabhupada's mission, most notably directing all aspects of the development of Hare Krishna land in Juhu, Bombay. He was instrumental in the acquisition and development of the Bhaktivedanta Ashram in Govardhana and led the development of the Kirtan Ashram for women, the Bhaktivedanta Hospice, and the Vrindavan Institute of Palliative Care, all in Vrindavan. He is also taught at the Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education. He was also instrumental in furthering Srila Prabhupada's mission in South Africa for a number of years. Presently based in California, Giriraj Swami is now focusing on one of the main personal instructions he received from Srila Prabhupada, to write. He is the author of Watering the Seed, Many Moons, and Life's Final Exam, and is nearing the completion of I'll Build You a Temple, a book about Srila Prabhupada's monumental efforts in Mumbai. Please join me in welcoming His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj to our Bhakti Sangha call today. Maharaj, if you can please address us. Thank you.
So thank you for that nice introduction. I will begin by singing the Mangalacharana prayers and short kirtan, and then we will speak about the holy names, and then take questions and comments from all of you. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakavalam Vaishnavamsa Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Pitam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pritana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Sitasri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Pariprajakacharya Astotra Sitasri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shabuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So I will read 2 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Second canto, chapter 1, texts 11 and 12. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Again, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization, text 11. Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bayam yoginam nripanirnitam harinamanukirtanam. Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bayam yoginam nripanirnitam harinamanukirtanam. Etat, it is, nirvidyamananam, of those who are completely free from all material desires. Ichatam, of those who are desirous of all sorts of material enjoyment. Akutabhayam, free from all doubts and fear. Yoginam, of all who are self-satisfied. Nripa, O king. Nirnitam, decided truth. Hare, of the Lord, Sri Krishna. Nama, holy name. Anu, after someone, always. Kirtanam, chanting. Translation. O king, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord, after the ways of the great authorities, is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. So before I continue to the purport, I would just like to ask you to see where you fit in these different categories, because you definitely fit. Either you're free from all material desires, or you're desirous of all material enjoyment, or you're self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. Or you may be a combination of two or even three categories. But you are definitely covered in this verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the previous verse, the great necessity for attaining attachment to Mukunda, Krishna, the giver of liberation, has been accredited. There are different types of persons who desire to attain success in different varieties of pursuits. Generally, the persons are materialists who desire to enjoy the fullest extent of material gratification. Next to them are the transcendentalists who have attained perfect knowledge about the nature of material enjoyment and thus are aloof from such an illusory way of life. More or less, they are satisfied in themselves by self-realization. Above them are the devotees of the Lord, who neither desire to enjoy the material world, nor desire to get out of it. They are after the satisfaction of the Lord, Sri Krishna. So the position of the devotee stands above that of a karmi or a jnani or a yogi. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada gives the example that say you're in a hall and you find someone's wallet. Well, which is full of money. So if you pick up the wallet and keep it for yourself, you're a thief, which is like a karmi. If you see the wallet and you think, oh, this doesn't belong to me, I can't take this, you're like a jnani who has realized the futility of trying to enjoy in the material world. But even that is not perfect. But if you pick up the wallet and you try to find out who the owner is and return the wallet to the owner, that is perfect. And that is the devotee. He understands that everything is the energy of Krishna, either Krishna or the energy of Krishna. And therefore, everything should be used in Krishna's service. And therefore, although working in the material world, he is not entangled. There is a subtle difference between material and spiritual. Of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna explains that he has 8 separated energies, Mumir Apu Nalavayo Kamano Buddha Evacha, earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So these are his separated inferior energies, apara prakriti. But apart from these, there is another energy, which is the spiritual energy. And the living entities belong to the spiritual energy. But although we belong to the spiritual energy, we are called marginal, tatastha shakti, marginal, because sometimes, although our nature is spiritual, sometimes we become covered by the material energy. And sometimes we can be in the shelter of the spiritual energy. So that marginal position is like the beach at the seaside. Sometimes when it's high tide, that portion of the beach is under the water and it's part of the ocean. And then again, when it's low tide, that part of the beach is uncovered and it's part of the land. So we are marginal because sometimes we can be covered by the material energy and sometimes not. But if we take shelter of Krishna, then we can always be in the spiritual energy. As the Lord says in the Gita, Devi hiye shagunamayi mama maya duratyaya, that this material energy consisting of the 3 modes is very difficult to overcome. Devi hiye shagunamayi mama maya duratyaya, Mamevaye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite, but one who surrenders to me can easily overcome it. Once I was sitting in the back seat of a car with Srila Prabhupada, and I was asking him about Maya, and he said, you cannot fight Maya directly, but you can fight Maya indirectly by taking shelter of Krishna. And I also asked him that sometimes when I chant, my mind is distracted. So what should I do? And he replied, you should chant louder. So he just said chant louder, but what I understood was that, you should chant so loudly that the sound of the holy name drowns out the sound of your mind, my mind. So now back to the purport. So just to repeat a little, generally the persons are materialists who desire to enjoy the fullest extent of material gratification. Next to them are the transcendentalists who have attained perfect knowledge about the nature of material enjoyment and thus are aloof from such an illusory way of life. More or less, they are satisfied in themselves by self-realization. Above them are the devotees of the Lord, who neither aspire to enjoy the material world nor get out of it. They are after the satisfaction of the Lord, Sri Krishna. And so we gave the example, the materialists are like that karmi who finds the wallet and wants to steal it and enjoy the money. And the Gyanis are like the person who sees the wallet and says, oh, this is not mine, and leaves it. I have nothing to do with this. And the devotees are like the person who finds the wallet and then he searches out the owner of the wallet so that he can return the wallet to the owner. And the owner of everything is Krishna, Sarvaloka Maheshwara. So above them are the devotees of the Lord, who neither aspire to enjoy the material world nor desire to get out of it. They are after the satisfaction of the Lord, Sri Krishna. In other words, the devotees of the Lord do not want anything on their personal account. If the Lord desires, the devotee can accept all sorts of material facilities. And if the Lord does not desire this, the devotees can leave aside all sorts of facilities, even up to the limit of salvation. So Srila Prabhupada himself is an example. He said that at first Krishna tested him by taking everything away from him. And then Krishna tested him by giving him everything. Both are tests. If Krishna takes everything away, the test is, are we going to stay with Krishna? Or are we going to chase after the facilities that Krishna took away from us? And the second test, when Krishna gives you everything, again, are you going to stay with Krishna, or are you going to try to enjoy what Krishna has given you? So, of course, Srila Prabhupada passed both tests. And so this, he is the example here that if the Lord desires, the devotees can accept all sorts of material facilities. And of course, they don't use the material facilities for sense gratification, but they use them for devotional service. If the Lord desires, the devotees can accept all sorts of material facilities. And if the Lord does not desire this, the devotees can leave aside all sorts of facilities, even up to the limit of salvation. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed, Mama Janmani Janmanishwari Bhavatad Bhakti Rai Tukiti. I desire only your devotional service life after life. That means he didn't desire liberation. He wanted only devotional service life after life. Even if he has to take birth again, it's all right, as long as he can engage in devotional service. Nor are they self-satisfied, because they want the satisfaction of the Lord only. In this verse, Sri Shukadev Goswami recommends the transcendental chanting of the holy name of the Lord. By offenseless chanting and hearing of the holy name, by offenseless chanting and hearing of the holy name of the Lord, one becomes acquainted with the transcendental form of the Lord, and then with the attributes of the Lord, and then with the transcendental nature of his pastimes, etc. Here it is mentioned that one should constantly chant the holy name of the Lord after hearing it from authorities. So the verse says Anu Kirtanam, and Anu means to follow, like we are Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. Anuradha is a name for Lalita, who always follows Radha. So Anu means to follow, and Anu also means continuous. And that word Anu, or that prefix Anu, has been beautifully rendered by Srila Prabhupada in the translation, where he includes both elements, always and following. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is a doubtless and fearless way of success for all. So now what does that mean, to follow the ways of the great authorities? So, hearing from the authorities is the first essential. Hearing of the holy name gradually promotes one to the stage of hearing about his form, about his attributes, about his pastimes, and so on. And thus the necessity of the chanting of his glories develops successively. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami enumerates 64 items of devotional service. And in the category of kirtan, there's Nama Kirtan, Rupa Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, and Lila Kirtan, glorifying the Lord's name, chanting or glorifying the Lord's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. This process is recommended not only for the successful execution of devotional service, but also even for those who are materially attached, which is good. According to Sri Shukadev Goswami, this way of attaining success is an established fact, nirnitam, concluded not only by him, but also by all others previous acharyas. Therefore, there is no need of further evidence. The process is recommended not only for the progressive students in different departments of ideological success, but also for those who are already successful in their achievement as fruitive workers, as philosophers, or as devotees of the Lord. That means who are already successful as karmis, gyanis, or bhaktas. One should still constantly chant the holy names. Srila Jiva Goswami, so here's the explanation of Anukirtanam, following the ways of the great authorities. Srila Jiva Goswami instructs that chanting of the holy name of the Lord should be done loudly, and it should be performed offenselessly as well, as recommended in the Padma Purana. One can deliver himself from the effects of all sins by surrendering himself unto the Lord. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. One can deliver himself from the effects of all sins by surrendering himself unto the Lord. One can deliver himself from all offenses at the feet of the Lord by taking shelter of his holy name. But one cannot protect himself if one commits an offense at the feet of the holy name of the Lord. We have to be very careful to avoid committing offenses at the feet of the holy name of the Lord. Such offenses are mentioned in the Padma Purana as being 10 in number. The first offense is to vilify the great devotees who have preached about the glories of the Lord. Now, we could discuss each offense, and it would be fruitful. But the problem is that according to the schedule, I have only 10 more minutes to speak before questions and answers. So unless someone has the authority to extend the duration of the program or of my talk, I'll just read the offenses, but I won't speak much about them to save time. But the first one, sadhu ninda, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord, is very important to avoid. Once His Grace Burijan Prabhu, he often conducts japa seminars and japa retreats. So in the 10 offenses, one of the offenses is pramadaha, which means inattention. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if one chants with attention, then all the other offenses will be destroyed. But if one is inattentive or negligent while chanting, all the other offenses can flourish. So that offense of inattention, pramadaha, should be avoided at all costs, because that's very critical. So in this seminar, Burijan Prabhu gave the students 2 homework assignments to see how they did in terms of chanting attentively, and to see how they did in terms of not criticizing devotees. And then the next day he asked them to report. So one lady said that she had every intention to avoid criticizing devotees, but she ended up in the company of people who were criticizing devotees. And sometimes we do it casually. We're not even conscious of it. Just casually criticize devotees. So she said she wanted to avoid it, but it was in the environment. So Burijan Prabhu replied, well, you have 2 choices. One is you can change the environment. But if you want to change the environment, good luck, because the environment doesn't want to change. The environment wants to criticize devotees. So the other alternative is to dissociate yourself from that environment. And that is more practical, obviously. Although by such discussions, we do try in a way to change the environment, at least in this society of devotees, so they don't commit sadhu ninda. But still, it may be there, and we have to be careful to avoid it. So the first offense is to vilify the great devotees who have preached about the glories of the Lord. The second offense is to see the holy names of the Lord in terms of worldly distinction. The Lord is the proprietor of all the universes, and therefore he may be known in different places by different names. But that does not in any way qualify or limit the fullness of the Lord. Any nomenclature is a name. Any nomenclature which is meant for the Supreme Lord is as holy as the others because they are meant for the Lord. Such holy names are as powerful as the Lord, and there is no bar for anyone in any part of the creation to chant and glorify the Lord by the particular name of the Lord as it is locally understood. They are all auspicious, and one should not distinguish such names of the Lord as material commodities. So when Srila Prabhupada was visiting Iran, Tehran, Atreya Rishi Prabhu, who was in charge of the mission there, and we have a devotee here with us from Iran, Memaidi Mansur. Thank you for joining us. So Atreya Rishi Prabhu was sort of waxing eloquent, saying he was looking forward to the day when all the Muslims in Iran would chant Hare Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada replied, why do you want them to chant only Hare Krishna? they can chant Allah, Allah. We are not sectarian. So, yeah, they can chant any name of the Lord as it is understood locally, and all of the holy names are identical with the Lord and therefore all powerful. And Srila Prabhupada was also very practical, so he might have foreseen that if a Treya Rishi tried to get all the Muslims to chant Hare Krishna, he might have gotten in trouble. So that's another aspect to it. But still, the philosophy is absolutely correct, that any name of the Supreme Lord is identical with the Supreme Lord and is as good as any other, as powerful as any other name. The third offense is to neglect the orders of the authorized acharyas or spiritual masters. Yes, Gurura Bhagya, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. The fourth offense is to vilify scriptures or Vedic knowledge. Of course, it's a very gross offense to actually blaspheme the Vedic literatures or literatures in pursuance of the Vedic version. But it's also a subtle offense not to read Srila Prabhupada's books, not to attend the classes on the books. So yeah, it's a more, there's like sins of commission and sins of omission. So yeah, blaspheming the Vedic literature is a sin of commission. But to avoid reading the Vedic literature or attending classes is a sin of omission. Srila Prabhupada would sleep only 2 hours at night. Generally would take rest at 10 and get up at 2. And then he would translate. He made such a superhuman effort to translate these books for us, so we should reciprocate with his kindness and effort and mercy and read the books and take advantage of them. The fifth offense is to define the holy name of the Lord in terms of one's mundane calculation. The holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord himself, and one should understand the holy name of the Lord to be non-different from him. The sixth offense is to interpret the holy name. The Lord is not imaginary, nor is his holy name. There are persons with a poor fund of knowledge who think the Lord to be an imagination of the worshiper, and therefore think his holy name to be imaginary. Such a chanter of the name of the Lord cannot achieve the desired success in the matter of chanting the holy name. Or as it is stated in the list in the Nectar of Devotion, to consider the glories of chanting the holy name to be imagination. And His Holiness Sachinandan Swami he also conducts many, japa retreats and workshops. And he said that one of his motivations was that ISKCON devotees who don't really experience the effects of chanting offenselessly may commit this offense of considering the glories of chanting the holy name to be imagination. And he said in his beautiful German accent, that devotees suffer from a type of schizophrenia. Like they have like a split personality, because our motto is chant and be happy. But a lot of times devotees chant and they're not happy. But the reason they're not happy is because they are offensive in their chanting, inattentive. As you can see, some of the offenses, such as inattention, are committed while chanting, and others are committed in one's life, not while chanting. I mean, we hope that you don't blaspheme devotees while you're chanting, but you might when you're not chanting. So we have to regulate our life, control our mind and senses in such a way that we don't commit any of these offenses, because committing the offenses while we're not chanting will affect our ability to chant properly. These offenses will leave a residue of contamination in our consciousness that will make it harder to chant. The seventh offense is to commit sins intentionally on the strength of the holy name. In the scriptures, it is said that one can be liberated from the effects of all sinful actions simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who takes advantage of this transcendental method and continues to commit sins on the expectation of neutralizing the effects of the sins by chanting the holy name of the Lord is the greatest offender at the feet of the holy name. Such an offender cannot purify himself by any recommended method of purification. In other words, one may be a sinful man before chanting the holy name of the Lord, but after taking shelter in the holy name of the Lord and becoming immune, one should strictly restrain oneself from committing sinful acts with the hope that his method of chanting the holy name will give him protection. So this is a very bad offense. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that not only in the chanting of the holy name, but in other methods of atonement, if one undergoes some atonement to neutralize the effects of one's sins, and then deliberately engages in sin in the expectation that he can perform that atonement to get free from the effects, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says it doesn't work. So not only does it not work, but on top of it, you're committing an offense by that sort of cunning, calculating, devious mentality that, oh, that's great, I can chant and get free from sinful reactions, so I can go and sin and then I can just chant and become free. So yeah, that's very sinful and very offensive. And we should not do that. I'm sure you don't, but it's just to explain the philosophy. The eighth offense is to consider the holy name of the Lord and his chanting method to be equal to some material auspicious activity. There are various kinds of good works for material benefits, but the holy name and his chanting are not mere auspicious holy services. Undoubtedly, the holy name is holy service, but he should never be utilized for such purposes. Since the holy name and the Lord are of one and the same identity, one should not try to bring the holy name into the service of mankind. The idea is that the Supreme Lord is the supreme enjoyer. He is no one's servant or order supplier. Similarly, since the holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord, one should not try to utilize the holy name for one's personal service. So in 1973, the head of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Srimati Leelavati Munshi, organized a conference, How the Bhagavad Gita Can Solve All the World's Problems. And before the actual conference began, she invited the various speakers to her library to, talk. So Srila Prabhupada went with some disciples. I was also among them. And there was one man, I don't know his name, he had a big, long white beard. And he told Srila Prabhupada that he was having large gatherings and getting people to chant and telling them that if they chant, their material diseases would be cured. So he said to Srila Prabhupada, I'm gathering people together and you're gathering people together. I am telling them to chant and you are telling them to chant. So we should cooperate. And Srila Prabhupada said, no. What you have described is against our principles. And then he explained the same thing, that the holy name is Krishna. He's the supreme enjoyer. He's not our servant. We're not meant to use the chanting to cure our physical diseases. We're not meant to use the holy name to be our servants. So, we should be careful about that. The ninth offense is to instruct those who are not interested in chanting the holy name of the Lord about the transcendental nature of the holy name. If such instruction is imparted to an unwilling audience, the act is considered to be an offense at the feet of the holy name. So the reason it's an offense is because or sometimes it's rendered, to preach the glories of the holy name to the faithless. And the reason it's an offense is because if someone doesn't have faith and you preach the glories of the holy name, they'll think, it's imagination or exaggeration, which is another offense. And so it's an offense for us to create situations in which people become offended, obviously. We can always engage them in chanting or in hearing, but not discuss the glories of the holy name unless they have faith. Srila Prabhupada was meeting a professor in Sweden, and in the course of the conversation, one of the disciples started to tell the professor, about the glories of chanting Hare Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada stopped him. And he said, this is an offense. First, the professor has to have faith in our authorities. Then you can speak to him on the strength of our authorities. But until he has faith in our authorities, we have to speak to him on the basis of logic and reason to bring him to the point where he will have faith in our authorities. So these are subtle points. Sometimes these situations arise with family members who are not so favorable to Krishna consciousness. And we might want to, naturally tell them about the glories of the holy name, but they might not be ready to hear it. And my general advice to people who deal with family members who are not Krishna conscious is, one, they should be happy. And two, they should deal with their family members and others very nicely. And if the family members or friends see that the devotee is happy and that the devotee is dealing nicely with them and with others, then that will be a very good recommendation for Krishna consciousness. Yeah. In fact, His Holiness Radhanath Swami told His Grace Vaisheshika Das that as the temple president in ISV, his first duty was to be happy. Because, that's our motto, chant and be happy. So that was what Satyanandan Swami was saying. Our motto is chant and be happy, but if the devotees aren't happy when they chant, then it's sort of like the schizophrenia. There's like a difference between our motto and our reality. And so he wanted to conduct these japa retreats and workshops so that devotees could actually learn to chant properly and actually feel happy. And sometimes I've conducted, retreats and seminars. And I make a list on the board. I ask the devotees, what are the factors that make you unhappy when you chant? We're supposed to be chanting, but what are and so they'll say things like, whatever, getting up late in the morning, thinking I have too many other things to do while I'm chanting. And as Burijan Prabhu says, the mind will always tell you there are more important things to do than chant. So make a list, and then what are the things that make you happy when you chant? And then, it might be getting up early in the morning, not trying to do anything else while I'm chanting. And so you can chant and be happy if you do it in the right way. But you can also chant and not be happy if you do it in the wrong way. So we want to chant and be happy. The 10th offense is to become uninterested in the holy name of the Lord, even after hearing of the transcendental nature of the holy name. The effect of chanting the holy name of the Lord is perceived by the chanter as liberation from the conception of false egoism. False egoism is exhibited by thinking oneself to be the enjoyer of the world and thinking everything in the world is meant for the enjoyment of one's self only. Burijan Prabhu says it's like everyone is walking around with the psychology. I mean, of course, they may not say it openly, but they're walking around with the mentality. They want to say, excuse me, please. I have an important announcement to make. I am the center of the universe, and everyone should cooperate with my desires to make me happy. So this is the general psychology of the conditioned soul. And the chanting is meant to free us from this. False egoism is exhibited by thinking oneself to be the enjoyer of the world and thinking everything in the world is meant for the enjoyment of oneself only. And this leads to conflict. As Burijan Prabhu says, it's like everyone leads life as if it was a drama or a movie. And they are the stars of the movie. They're the heroes or the heroines of the movie. And they think everyone else is meant to be the supporting cast to help them in their, exploits as the hero or heroine. So you can imagine, here I am, I'm thinking, I'm the hero of this movie. You're supposed to support me. And you're thinking, no, I'm actually the hero of this movie. You're meant to support me. So there's all sorts of, can be all sorts of friction and disharmony. But if we understand that Krishna is the hero and we're all meant to serve him, then we can have very congenial relationships with each other as fellow servants of Krishna. So the whole materialistic world is moving under such false egoism of I and mine, but the factual effect of chanting the holy name is to become free from such misconceptions. Or as Srila Prabhupada renders it in the Nectar of Devotion, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name, and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions of the matter. So it's not an offense to have material attachments. We all come with material attachments. It's an anartha, but it's not an offense. But if you hold on to those material attachments, even while chanting, our mood in chanting should be, O Lord, O energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service, which implies that we're praying to be freed from any obstacles that would impede our service, such as material attachments. So to chant and at the same time maintain material attachments is contradictory. And how it relates to not having complete faith. If we had complete faith in the holy name, we would know that we could get everything, all satisfaction and bliss from chanting. And we wouldn't maintain material attachments in the false hope that they will give us happiness and satisfaction. So it's good that we meet and discuss the holy name and also the offenses against the holy name, and that is Harinamanukkirtanam, following the ways of the great authorities, means chanting without offense. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for joining and being so patient. And now we can have questions and comments. Nice to see so many old friends I haven't seen for a while, including Mahaprabhu Das.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much on behalf of Bhakti Sangha Japa Group. I really want to thank you for such a beautiful class, for taking out your valuable time and giving us your wonderful association. So thank you so much, Maharaj. Maharaj, like with your permission, can we take few questions if you are okay, if you have some time?
Yes, it'll be a pleasure.
Okay, so thank you, Maharaj. And I request all the participants, those who have questions, can please kindly raise your hand so that we can personally unmute you and then you can ask your question. Okay, Lalitangi Radha Devi Dasi. Mataji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams. Very, very beautiful class, Maharaj. I don't have words to say. It was like so soothing to the mind and very wonderful instructions. Maharaj, my question is about the aspect of Kleshagni. That one of the immediate effects of the pure devotional service is it puts out the distress, that is Kleshagni. Is it okay to tell that, or will it be, I'm trying to understand the example that you gave with Srila Prabhupada telling that we don't chant to cure material disease. So when we wanted to inspire people about chanting, what do we say about the holy name? How much we can say? Can you please enlighten on us? Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
that's a very intelligent question. And I would say that in this case, you would just be speaking the truth. But again, it comes back to the question of whether your audience has faith in your authorities. So yes, definitely, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu explains Kleshagni, the destruction of material miseries is one of the byproducts of pure devotional service. So I would say you can repeat that. It's the truth. But again, if the audience doesn't have faith, then they might not believe you. And so, as Srila Prabhupada said in that discussion with the professor in Sweden, we have to bring them to the point of faith by reason and logic and argument. But yeah, they should know. They should know the truth.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
So our next question is from Gaurangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I don't know if can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't see
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I'm like Lord Goranga over there. It says Gail. It says Gail instead of Gorangi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. My question refers to when you were saying that all names of Krishna refer to basically the same person, so they're all equally powerful. I just want to confirm that although they are all equally powerful, that they don't necessarily all result in a person ending up in the same destination by the chanting of all of these different names for Krishna.
That's a very good point, and I'm glad you mentioned it, because it's true that if the chanting of different names can lead to different results. And so, if you chant Allah, Allah, or Jesus, Jesus, you get one type of result. If you chant Rama, Rama, you get another type of result. And if you chant Hare Krishna, you get another type of result. And it's sort of confidential. But yes, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur does say that although in a sense all the names are equal, but in another sense there is a gradation among the different names. And so we are fortunate that we're chanting Hare Krishna, Radha and Krishna, the highest goal of life. And but still, if someone is chanting another name, we should not discourage them. We should encourage them to chant whatever name they're chanting. And, you know, if they inquire about Hare Krishna, we can answer, but if they're chanting some other name, we should just encourage them to chant that name. Or what I sometimes do is I tell them they can continue chanting what they're chanting and just add a little of Hare Krishna chanting. I do that also. And, you know, sometimes the Hare Krishna chanting can take over. Like we had a very good friend and devotee in Bombay, Dr. N.D. Desai, who was later initiated as Srinathji Das. And he had, in his temple room, there were, you know, there was Krishna, I think Radha and Krishna, and also some demigods. And so he was asking about the deities of the demigods because we don't worship demigods. But some of the family members were attached to the demigods. And he said, well, don't worry, you know, just worship Krishna and eventually he'll take care of the demigods. And it happened, you know, I don't know how, but eventually those demigods moved out of the temple room. So, yeah, mainly we say add, you know, add the chanting of Hare Krishna, add Krishna, and then the other things take care of themselves, usually. Is that all right?
Yes, thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Now, can we take a few chat questions?
Yes.
So this is Nitai Mata Devi Dasi, and she is asking, thank you for giving your valuable time. Nitai Mata.
Excuse me, if she's on Zoom, I'd like to see the faces of the people who are.
Yes. Sure, Maharaj. So Nitai Mata Mataji, if you can be on, you know, on your camera and ask personally your question. Okay. So I don't think so. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Not coming.
Okay.
Okay, Maharaj, then probably I'll ask. She's asking, thank you for giving your valuable time. My question is, we chant extra rounds for someone who is sick, someone who has left this world. You did mention that chanting is not done for these reasons. If I understood correctly, can you explain more on this, Maharaj?
No, I mean, the purpose of chanting ultimately is to please Krishna. I mean, bhakti means to please Krishna. And in the chanting, we are attempting to purify our hearts, Chaitojarpano Marjanam, and praying for service. Now, chanting for others is fine. It's like praying for someone else. We can pray for someone else, whether they're alive or whether they've left their bodies. We can pray for someone else. So we can also chant for them. In fact, they will benefit from our chanting for them, from our prayers for them. But we should be careful about praying for material things, you know? And we should be careful about, you know, not trying to impose our will on Krishna. Like when Srila Prabhupada was sick at the end in Vrindavan, we asked him how we should pray for him. And Srila Prabhupada gave the answer. We could offer this prayer: my dear Lord Krishna, if you so desire, please cure Srila Prabhupada. That's a good prayer, good model for a prayer.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All good Srila Prabhupada and onto your lotus feet. It was such a beautiful class. And I'm having the same issue with my my husband, and he's, you know, he's very favorable, but sometimes when it comes to devotees, he gets a little bit upset. So when he gets upset, I I go away, or if I say something, I go to Krishna and say, I don't know what to do. In sometimes, like we're watching Mahabharata right now, and he says it's a fairy tale. So but he still watches it and enjoys it. So I don't know how to answer him when he says something like that.
What is it that upsets him about devotees?
He hasn't had a couple of good experiences. Like when we went to Vrindavan, I took him to Vrindavan, and I took him to Jagannath Puri. And when we were in Vrindavan, there was a devotee that I knew for a long time, and he went and said Hare Krishna, and he said, "Oh, I know. My wife said she knows you from a long time." And the devotee wasn't very nice, and he said, "I don't feel like talking to you." So his whole mood of Vrindavan just got hampered, and so little things like that have happened to him. So I don't know if it's Krishna's mercy, or I don't know what it is, Guru Maharaj.
Well, I think, what came to my mind is that you explained to him that there are different levels of devotees. Not all devotees are on the same level.
Okay.
There's like Kanishtas and Madhyams and Uttamas. So, without knowing the devotee, but just based on what he said to your husband, I would say he's a Kanishta at best. And so your husband should not judge. I'm suggesting this as how you could appeal to your husband, that he should not judge devotees on the basis of the lower grade devotees, because they're also higher grade devotees. And yeah. So now what else was it? What was in your question?
We're watching Mahabharata, and because he's a Muslim, so he's
what?
He's a Muslim.
Oh, he's Muslim.
He's a Muslim, yeah. But he goes to all the, places with me, and he's very favorable. I have Lord Jagannath at home. He lets me pray. He goes and offers obeisances to them. We went to Jagannath Puri. He was very, very favorable and everything. But just sometimes he doesn't understand who Lord Krishna is, and he thinks it's just, it's a fairy tale. Since we're watching Mahabharata, he loves to watch Mahabharata, but then he doesn't understand that Lord Krishna is the supreme. So that comes to be sometimes a big,
Is there any way you could induce him, maybe you already tried, but to read Srila Prabhupada's books? Because anyone can read Srila Prabhupada's books. They're meant for everyone. And that could really help if you did it.
He doesn't like reading, Guru Maharaj. He gets a headache when he reads even one page of... so that's why I'm having him watch Mahabharata, or some religious... he loves to watch those. So it's very tough. It's very, very tough.
What about watching Yadubara Prabhu put together a series following Srila Prabhupada?
Yes, I could have him watch that. Okay.
Yeah, he should, because, yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Okay.
Yeah. Or even, yeah. Let's see how that works.
Okay. And so if he says something, sometimes when he says something which is not, something that a devotee can't take, what do I just walk away and just
like what he said about Mahabharata, that's all fairy tale.
yeah, or something like, why are you always praying? And then, it's something like not very, something nice about, Lord Krishna. So what do I do in that? Do I just walk away, or I tell him I'll just leave him because if he says anything about Lord Jagannath?
I mean, depending on the situation, like if he says something, like it's all fairy tales, I mean, of course, there's also husband-wife dynamics that could be at play here. But ordinarily, you don't want to get into an argument, but at the same time, you can't accept what he's saying.
Right.
Something like, well, you're entitled to your opinion and I have my opinion.
Okay. But the good thing is Guru Maharaj, he's very respectful to my Guru Maharaj. He's very respectful to if a devotee comes home. He's, he's very so at least.
Well, yeah, if you have good devotees come home, like mature ones who will understand how to deal with him, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. It was a lovely class. Thank you for your blessings and humble obeisances. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'll pray for your husband and you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, we have 6 more hands. Do you have time to address those questions?
Yeah, it's Ekadasi, so.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Ekadasi, no eating or sleeping, just chanting and hearing.
Thank you so much. So next we have Sangeeta Vorailia. Can you please go ahead?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances and all goes to you, Srila Prabhupada, and your preaching, Prabhu. Very nice, Maharaj, really wonderful classes. I just have one question is about, when I do chanting, my early morning chanting, I just started last 3 months back. So I have been up and down with my chanting since last 5 years. I started 16 round and then some point I dropped down to 8 and 4 and then complete 0. And however, during the lockdown, I got my love back for Krishna again and I started chanting 16 round and reading the Srimad Bhagavatam as well. But like one of the morning, I couldn't do my morning chanting. And then I completed my chanting in the evening, like late evening when I went for a walk. And then I thought like I didn't do right. So, that kind of feelings in my heart that I didn't do correct. How to come over with those thoughts that saying that you're not doing correctly chanting and making yourself feel guilt all the time that how could you just miss out the morning, 1 or 2, whatever reason. So how to overcome with those thoughts from your mind that you didn't do anything wrong or it was wrong?
Well, you should have plan A and plan B. So plan A should be to chant in the morning.
Yeah.
And you should try to arrange your life in such a way that you can chant in the morning. That's for sure preferable.
Yeah.
But you can have your plan B, which would be to chant whatever, I guess late afternoon or evening.
Yeah.
not too late, so you're not like too tired. And then, you know, just yeah, don't let your mind be disturbed by you know, criticizing yourself for missing in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, just try to make the best use of the time that you have to chant in the evening. And try to, you know, try to arrange so you can chant in the morning.
Yeah. Also, Guru Maharaj, just one more question is including it's about the chanting as well. You know, when I start my morning chanting, my like 1 or 2 round, I can make sure that in my first 2 rounds, my mind is definitely trying to please Krishna's lotus feet and try to concentrate on that. And all of a sudden, my mind just start getting wavering around. Not necessarily I do want to think anything else, because I say I do wake up about 4:45 in the morning to do my chanting, and sometimes 4:30 in the morning. I'm trying to do a little bit more early so I can be more focused to Krishna only and not any worldly thoughts in my mind. But however, it just sometimes I feel very bad. Like I did 16 rounds, but I'm not satisfied with those 16 rounds because I think I didn't do correctly. I didn't do right this way. So that guilt conscious always comes in my mind and makes me really feel very bad about myself. I don't know, that I'm not very good devotee of Lord. I'm not pleasing in a correct way.
Well, it's always good to think that you can do better. I mean, we always can do better.
Yeah.
But thinking that we can do better should encourage us to try to do better. It shouldn't discourage us. I mean, yeah, I don't see that you're a bad devotee. I mean, how can you be a bad devotee?
I mean, bad devotee means like, you know, not the standard of the devotees, which actually.
Well, you're a good devotee, but you could be better. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't call yourself a bad devotee. You're not a bad devotee.
Oh, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. Is there any way I can more concentrate on my chanting? Is there any trick to concentrate more on the holy name and keep out of other things?
Yeah, you just have to practice. Srila Prabhupada said practice makes perfect even in spiritual life. And of course, as you know, chanting early in the morning, and then it has more potency if you chant in front of deities, if you chant in front of Tulsi, if you chant with other devotees who are serious about chanting and who have faith in the holy name. All of these can support your chanting. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I have on Facebook, I have a live stream called Giriraj Swami Japa Sangha. And so devotees can join me for chant japa. And it's encouraging, you know, even though we're not physically together, it's encouraging to see, you know, so many devotees chanting.
Yeah.
With me and with each other. Yeah.
So which one is it on your Facebook page, Maharaj?
Well, it's not on my regular Facebook page, which is Giriraj Swami, but there's another Facebook page called Giriraj Swami Japa Sangha.
Japa Sangha. Okay, yeah.
Giriraj Swami Japa Sangha, you'll find it.
Yeah, I will just check up and then I will just try to join in that, Maharaj. For sure.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Really blessed. I'm feeling so blessed to have your words from you for me anyway. I really, just please accept my humble obeisances and all glories to you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. So next we have Nikita Mataji. Can you please go ahead and unmute?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Nandini Radha Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Right.
just wanted to ask you a question about how do we balance family obligations versus maintaining our sort of a spiritual principle. And I just want to give you an example that happened just very recently, where we attended the funeral Shraddh ceremony of a very close family member, and they had invited a Hindu priest to conduct the rituals. And the Hindu priest kept on talking about how the God is formless, has no form, and so forth, completely Mayavadi. And it was very hard for me and my husband to sit there and listen to all this nonsense. But we could not walk out of the ceremony because that would have offended all our family members and that would have caused friction. So we just said it was very hot in the room and we went in the backyard and started chanting. But how should we respond in such situations where we want to keep our family ties and also, of course, show them that we are happy, as you mentioned earlier so nicely. So we were caught in a very strange situation, and I'm sure this happens with everyone. But how should we respond?
Well, yeah, I don't know. This was in Los Angeles, in the Los Angeles area. Was this in Los Angeles?
Yes, Maharaj. This was just yesterday in Los Angeles.
Okay. Well, I think, I mean, in a way, it's a bit too late, but in a way, you know, it could be a proactive move to try to make those family members who invited the Mayavadi to make them more Krishna conscious. So that, yeah, I mean, today someone sent me, it was sort of humorous, about a little thing about social distancing. And it said, you know, COVID-19, you know, social distancing, I think, whatever, 1 meter. And Mayavadi's social distancing, 100 meters. We want to keep our distance from them. But yeah, I think what you did was okay. To sort of get out of there, but not, you know, not insult or offend your family or anything like that. But yeah, it's very, Mayavad is so bad. Once Srila Prabhupada was invited to a conference at Kurukshetra, and there were a number of speakers, and one of the speakers, at least one of the speakers, was a Mayavadi. And Brahmananda Prabhu was sitting right next to Srila Prabhupada on the dais. But he felt very, very uncomfortable with the Mayavadi speaking. And he said to Srila Prabhupada, I'm sitting right next to you, but I feel so bad. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, that's the effect of Mayavadi. It will really disturb a devotee. So yeah, we should try to avoid. I mean, family is different, but I mean, Srila Prabhupada was without compromise. I saw in his old letters, he was invited to a Bhagavat Saptaha in Bombay, I think before ISKCON. And the speaker was going to be a Mayavadi. And so he received an invitation, and Srila Prabhupada wrote back that not only will I not attend, but I will tell all of my friends and acquaintances that they also should not attend. So that you know, they don't have to be subjected to that.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I really appreciate your answer.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. So next we have Usha Mataji. Can you please go ahead?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. Jai Shri
Hi.
Prabhupada.
All the way from Mauritius. Yes, speak.
Yeah.
Did you want to say? You just muted yourself. Yeah.
Guru Maharaj, can we have darshan of their lordships Sri Gandharvika Giridhari?
Well, I would like to satisfy your desire, but I can't do it now because I'm sitting at a desktop computer. It is not portable, so I cannot move it to the deities. It's a nice thought, maybe on some other occasion. Sometimes on Japa Sangha, maybe I'll do that. If you join the Japa Sangha, I'm using just my iPhone, and so it's portable. I can give darshan of the deities. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. So next we have Rajneesh Prabhu. Can you please go ahead?
Maharaj. Maharaj, I have one question. So while doing japa rounds, so can we play Mahamantra in our background at lower volume so that we can focus on the Mahamantra lower volume and then we can chant?
Yeah, that's all right. Once Srila Prabhupada came into the temple room in Dallas, and they were playing his japa tape. And Srila Prabhupada said, you should be listening to your japa, not my japa. But still, we do chant with other people in the room. So if the volume of that recorded chanting is low enough that it doesn't interfere with you hearing your own japa, but it sort of like supports you and encourages you, that's fine. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. So next we have Dr. Brittany. Can you please go ahead? Dr. Brittany, are you there?
Looks like she's dropped off.
Okay. So next we have Amrita Gopi Mataji. You can go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, the question may be a little off topic, but I would like to ask you anyway. How can devotees receive full benefits of Krishna consciousness if surrendered at their senior age?
Wait, I was a little distracted because I saw a chat saying that Dr. Brittany was there, but she was on mute. So we'll get back to Dr. Brittany. So now can you repeat what you just said?
How can devotees receive full benefits of Krishna consciousness if they surrender at their very senior age?
Oh, well, you get the benefit by surrendering, as you said. And in principle, it doesn't really matter young or old, although young is better because then you have, so much of your life ahead of you. And therefore, Prahlad Maharaj says, Komara Atrat Pragya, and Srila Prabhupada repeated that so often. that from the very tender age of childhood, one should engage in Krishna consciousness. But even if one comes in contact with Krishna consciousness later, he or she can still make advancement. There's a nice purport, I believe, in the Bhagavad Gita, in which Srila Prabhupada makes that point, that it's ideal if one can begin at a young age, but even if one begins at an older age, one can still achieve perfection. So, we encourage everyone to surrender. I could probably find that purport, but Srila Prabhupada, I think, uses the phrase, from the time that one appreciates the importance of Krishna consciousness. It's okay. It's good. Better late than never.
Did you say in Bhagavad Gita, Maharaj?
Yeah. I can email it to you.
All right. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Very well. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. So Dr. Brittany, please, can you unmute and go ahead?
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, can you hear me, Maharaj?
I can hear you and I can see you.
Oh, good. Okay, I have a question regarding chanting in general, like the actual practice of it. So when I chant in the morning, I tend to like to sit in front of my images of Lord Krishna, my calendar, my deities, and like chant while thinking about Krishna's leelas. But I've also been told I shouldn't be doing that I should just be focusing on the holy names itself, that I should be focusing on the actual syllables, the actual sound vibration of the Maha Mantra. Is either one better, or are they both good?
Well, we actually read it in the purport. We actually read it in the purport that from the holy name, you can become acquainted with the forms, with the qualities, with the pastimes. And in the old Boston temple, I think it was a general practice in ISKCON then, that devotees would read Krishna book at night before taking rest. And I found, I was facilitating a japa retreat at New Vrindavan, and I found that by reading Krishna book at night, it was sort of natural to think of Krishna's path while chanting. Yeah, I was saying that Srila Prabhupada introduced the practice that devotees would read Krishna book at night before taking rest. So then in the morning when we would chant japa, it would sort of be natural to remember Krishna's pastimes. So it shouldn't be that we make a separate artificial effort to think of the pastimes that would distract us from hearing the holy name, but if we chant the holy name attentively and if Krishna's pastimes come to mind, that's very good. That's perfection.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, sometime while chanting, I give some taste, but sometime I'm not having any taste. I have to force to chant. What is the main reason, Maharaj?
You say some, can you repeat that?
Sometime while chanting, I'm getting some kind of taste, means, but sometime I have to force myself very badly. Is it because of the offenses? What is the main reason, Maharaj?
Well, yeah. I mean, Rupa Goswami describes in the Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, that the holy names are sweet, like sugar candy, but that one who is afflicted by the disease of avidya or ignorance doesn't taste the holy names, not just the names, but character and qualities, as sweet, but taste them as bitter. Just like someone suffering from jaundice, the disease, doesn't taste sweet things to be sweet, taste them as bitter. But the Ayurvedic cure for jaundice is sugar candy. So even though it tastes bitter, the patient takes the sugar candy, and gradually, as the patient recovers, that sugar candy, which tasted bitter, will gradually start to taste sweet. And when the disease is completely cured, then the patient can taste the sugar candy as it is, which is sweet like nectar. So that word you use, force yourself, is very appropriate. Sometimes we have to force ourselves to take a bitter medicine. But by taking this medicine of the holy name, we'll gradually become cured of our disease, and then we'll taste it as being sweet. And as I mentioned earlier, we can get support in our chanting. Of course, chanting early in the morning, chanting in front of deities, chanting in front of Tulsi Devi, chanting with other devotees who are sincere and serious. Those can all encourage you in your chanting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. So next we have Lavanya Mai Radhika Mataji. You can please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. It was a very sweet class, Maharaj, as usual. Give the best class. My question is, like when we read Adashi Brata, scriptures, it always comes with some fruits saying that if you do Yogini Ekadashi, today's one, then you satisfied, this yagya, or, you are satisfying, like feeding the cows or brahmanas. So thinking in that way, should we do Ekadashi Vrata, or we just in a loving way for Krishna, we do it, the Vrata? So that's what my question is. Thank you.
Nice. Well, everything in bhakti should be done for Krishna's pleasure and for our purification, because Krishna will be pleased if we purify our hearts so that we can become better servants of him and his devotees. As far as those special boons that you get, I don't pay much attention to them. We already have the greatest boon of Krishna consciousness, so we just want to go deeper in Krishna consciousness. So, yeah, whatever we do, all of our vratas, Ekadasi vrata, should be done for Krishna's pleasure. There's the story of Amrish Maharaj and how he was observing Ekadasi. It's a whole discussion from the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, but in the purport, it's very clear, and it's true of all of our activities. In the purport, it's very clear that the purpose of observing the Ekadasi Vrata is to please Krishna. So the more we can chant and hear, probably the less we can eat and sleep, the better. But we shouldn't do any like artificial austerities, so that like our mind is more preoccupied with our austerities rather than with the holy name or with Krishna. But if we can reduce eating and sleeping and use that time we save for more chanting and hearing, it's good. Krishna will be pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, we're pleased.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. So next we have Anil Prabhu. Can you please go ahead?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, my question is, you just earlier stated in the answer of some other question that there is no harm when we chant extra round for someone else. But my question is, if that someone else is our wife, our children, or anyone in our family?
Yeah, what do you mean chant for them?
If we chant some extra rounds for the health of someone who is ill in our family, like my wife or children or anyone else in our family, we do extra round. That is not for material purpose.
Oh, chanting extra rounds for someone's health? Well, the way you phrased it, it doesn't sound very good. But it could possibly be phrased in a different way. Like, why do you want, you say your wife to have good health? Or why does she want to have good health? If it's for Krishna's service, then, you could pray for Krishna to enable her to serve to her full capacity. But just praying for her to get better health in and of itself doesn't sound like a proper prayer.
Would you like, if we want that the family members, they are well and healthy, then we can easily pay our attention towards our spiritual upliftment, and we can chant properly. For that purpose, is it material or is it spiritual?
Well, I mean, in a way it's spiritual, but it seems sort of like you're putting yourself at the center of the prayer, that you don't want to have to be bothered with sick family members. And that also doesn't sound, but it's okay, but it's not great. Yeah, I think, we should always see ourselves as the servants of the servants of Krishna. And our family members, they're family members, but we hope they're also servants of Krishna. So taking care of a sick family member, in the mood of being a servant of the servant. I mean, it could, I can't say in too much detail about your situation, but I would be careful not to pray for material things. But again, the same thing can be phrased spiritually. I have an example from here in Santa Barbara, there was a devotee named Giriraj Priya, and he was looking for a house, and he wasn't able to find one. So I asked him if he had prayed for it. He said, no, how can I pray for a house? It's material. How can I pray for something material? So I said, it depends on how you phrase the prayer, how you conceive of the house. I said, if you pray to have a nice facility for your deities, a nice facility where you can have programs, satsang, a nice facility where you can host devotees, where devotees can actually spend the night if they need, then you could pray for a house. So he reconfigured his prayer, and within 3 days he found a house. So if we shift the prayer from like the material features of the item to the spiritual utility of it, then it's okay. We can pray for that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. So next we have Sukh Sagari Mataji. Can you please go ahead?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, I had this question for quite some time. I've been meaning to email you, but now I hope I can ask you in person. So we hear that in Kali Yuga, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the way back to Godhead. But then also we have read in scriptures that an Uttama Adhikari is very well versed in scriptures and scriptural knowledge. So I was just wondering, so when a person dedicates his life to chanting the holy name of the Lord alone, like solely depends on chanting, and is not able to read scriptures or do other kinds of things, so are all these scriptural truths revealed to him or her in their heart? I mean, how does it work that just by chanting we can go back to Godhead?
Well, if you can do chanting all the time, that's fine. But very few people can do just chanting. But we want to be Krishna conscious all the time. And so sometimes we chant, sometimes we read Shastra, sometimes we sing bhajans, kirtan, sometimes we worship the deities, sometimes we distribute books. So there's a variety of engagements. But it's true, if you can do chanting 24 hours, Kirtaniya Sadhari, that's fine. But otherwise, we should engage in various activities that will help us with Krishna consciousness. And one thing that Srila Prabhupada said about the chanting is that the chanting is easy, but the determination to chant is not so easy. And by reading the books, we can get that determination to chant. So yeah, reading the books is important. But it's also true if someone's illiterate, like Srila Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj was illiterate, he couldn't sign his name. But still, because he was an advanced devotee, Mahabhagavat, scholars would come to him with questions about Srimad Bhagavatam, and he could answer the questions because of his advancement in Krishna consciousness. So yeah, Yasya Deve Parabhaktir Yata Deve Tatava. One who has implicit faith in Krishna and the spiritual master, to such a person, all the truths of the Vedas are revealed. That's true. But if we have faith in the spiritual master, and the spiritual master instructs us to read the books, then we should read the books too. Yeah, why should we not?
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, because I was, also thinking about like how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed his main associates, like the Sadguru Swamis, to write so many books on the science of devotion, and he's left left this legacy for us so that we can take advantage. So I got the question in my mind because of that, because I also understand that there are so many nice scriptures which help us understand this, and but at the same time we also hear, I mean, I've heard some devotees say that, oh, you may not need to know everything, you can just chant your way back to Godhead. So I have this tendency to weigh, now should I chant or read, or chant or read? So that's why I asked this question.
Oh yeah, you should do both. You should definitely do both. Yeah, the proportion that might vary from person to person or time to time, but you should definitely do both. But certainly the 16 rounds comes, that's the most essential. Minimum 16 rounds is the most essential. Okay.
Hare Krishna. So Sunil Prabhu, can you please go ahead next?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for your wonderful association and your patience. I had a question. When somebody stops chanting and he wants to resume the chanting again, why is it so difficult for a person to resume chanting? He may resume all other services, but when it comes to chanting, it's very difficult for a person to resume it. Although we hear that the holy name is more merciful than the Lord himself, then why is the holy name not being merciful to the person so that he can develop a taste to chant the holy name?
Well, I would say that the holy name is being merciful to the person so that the person doesn't take chanting for granted. Now, chanting is a privilege. And, if we stop chanting, the holy name may want us to struggle a bit before we can chant again, so we don't take the chanting for granted. And we're very careful not to allow ourselves to stop chanting. But yeah, eventually the holy name, of course, will show its mercy on the chanter by making it easier for the chanter to chant. But yeah, it's mercy to be able to chant. And so to make that person appreciate the mercy, the person might have to struggle a little to get back to the chanting. But they have to do it, they have to. They can't give up the struggle.
Thank you, Maharaj. So thank you so much for your very, very valuable time. I still have, few questions on chat. Probably they don't want to come personally. So would you like to address Maharaj?
Okay.
So,
Well, just give me a minute. I'll be back in a minute.
yeah, sure, Maharaj, sure. Yes, Maharaj. Thank you. So she posted her question on chat, but probably now it seems that she wants to personally ask. So Niru Mataji, you can please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, let me pronounce the Prabhupada.
Hi.
My question is, Maharaj, like I do my morning japa, but during the day, if I have extra time, so I'm a bit confused, like what to devote my extra time. Like, should I read more, or should I chant more, or should I give my time to my kids more if I have extra, or should I give it to my body to maintain, like to do some exercise or yoga?
Well, yeah, balance is a very important principle in devotional service and in life. And what, constitutes the proper balance at one time might not be the proper balance at another time. And I don't think I can say, you should do more of this or more of that or less of this or less of that. But there's a very nice purport in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto. When Mother Yashoda was feeding baby Krishna her breast milk, the milk on the fire began to boil over. So she set aside baby Krishna to tend to the milk on the fire before Krishna was satisfied. But anyway, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that everything in the household of Mother Yashoda was meant for the service of Krishna. But sometimes in the course of performing devotional service, one has to do one thing first and another thing later. And the intelligence, what to do first and what to do later, comes from Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada quoted, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna gives the intelligence. Yena mam upayanti te. So we should try to fulfill the conditions in that verse. Tesham satata yuktanam. So that means who are constantly devoted. We should be constantly devoted. I mean, yes, there may be many alternatives, like you mentioned, chanting, reading, taking care of your children, but they should all be in the mood of service to Krishna. To the Tesham Satata Yuktanam, to those who are constantly devoted, Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. Priti Purvakam means with love. So we should do the services in the mood of love, at least as far as possible. So Tesham Satata Yuktanam, Bhajatam Priti Purvakam, Dadami Buddhi Yogakam. To those persons, Krishna gives the intelligence by which they can come to him. So, yeah, you can pray to Krishna, pray to Srila Prabhupada, to give you the intelligence, what to do first and what to do later, what to do more and what to do less. But sometimes, between good choices, they're all good choices. Maybe, follow your heart. Follow your heart. Krishna's in your heart. And but yeah, as I said before, and of course, the 16 rounds minimum comes first. That's top priority. And then the other things. And as far as the children, I don't know to what extent they can be involved in, chanting and reading, but it's certainly nice. It's a nice way to spend time with them, and it will also nourish your spiritual practices. But, we can't force them if they don't want. And we don't want them to feel neglected. We don't want them to think that because of Krishna consciousness, you don't have time for them. So, yes, that's very important that that you spend enough time with the children. And like I said, if it can be dovetailed in Krishna consciousness, so much the better. But if not, you don't want them to feel that because of your Krishna consciousness, you're not spending enough time with them. Because they're also devotees, future devotees, and so in the mood of servant of the servant.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. So next we have Samin Prabhu. He was not able to raise his hand. So now please, can you go ahead?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, well, the first thing we hear about chanting is this is our motto, chant and be happy. And we hear about it and we tell others about it. My understanding is that this happiness is Krishna's reciprocation for us. But today, when you were reading the purport about the 8th offense, it got me a little bit worried that is there some risk that sometimes we use that motto as like, okay, I'm chanting just to feel good, or I'm so using that for my personal service.
No. What, like you said, chant, be happy, that's our motto. It came from Srila Prabhupada. So chanting and feeling happy, or even chanting to feel happy spiritually, is not like you making the Lord your order supplier. He wants us to be happy. And he knows we can be happy only in Krishna consciousness. So that's not making him an order supplier like, that man who was saying, if you chant, then all your physical diseases will be cured. That's in a different category. But chanting to feel happy, yeah, you should feel happy when you chant. That's not a bad motive. That's not a bad motive.
Thank you, Lord.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. So next we have Praveen Parhe. Can you please go ahead?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and at Lotus feet. Maharaj, very wonderful class and very nice answers to all of these questions. It helped to understand so many questions and different answers. So it answered a few questions that even didn't came. So my question, Maharaj, is like, while doing chanting, is it okay if we visualize the Mahamantra words in the mind and chant and hear? Like if I'm reading a book, I read a book, and when I'm reading the words, I hear those words as well as I read. So I feel like it helps keep the mind a little focused because I'm reading in the mind and hearing at the same time. So is it okay to do that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the mind, but I have the Maha Mantra in English and in Devanagari, and it helps to focus the mind. And while you're chanting, you you look at the mantra and you follow the words to the mantra. Of course, it's backwards here.
Yes, same Maharaj.
But I do that. And it's recommended that while you're chanting Hare, you look at Hare. You know, when you chant Krishna, you look at Krishna. It definitely helps to focus the mind.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So now, respecting your time, I'll just take 4 questions which are on chat. That will be the last one. So we have Devanshi Pancholi Mataji. She is saying, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances. Our glories to Srila Prabhupada, our glories for your class. My question is about eclipse that is happening on Sunday. Anything?
Wait, is she here? Where is she?
She posting her question on chat.
Oh, okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I'm on the class. Sorry, I didn't want to disturb.
Yeah, I like to see the people who are asking.
Hare Krishna. So yes, it's just I joined in late, so I didn't want to interrupt the class, so I posted my question on the chat. Please accept my humble obeisances. My question is, this Sunday is eclipse, and I'm an expectant mother, so I was wondering, is there anything recommended in Shastras that I need to follow specifically?
Oh, well, you know, someone raised the question, my email, someone asked me about eclipses. And, you know, if Srila Prabhupada said anything about how to observe eclipses. And, you know, I didn't really have any experience with Srila Prabhupada. But I did add a few devotees as receivers to the thread who, you know, who might be able to say something. And Shruti Kirti Prabhu, who was Srila Prabhupada's servant, he said, I was with Prabhupada the entire year of 1973 and some of 74 and 75. There were 6 eclipses during that time. There were no special arrangements made throughout the day regarding cooking, massage, or other areas of my service. Srila Prabhupada was very regulated in his daily routine. And one of the other devotees I added as a receiver was Mother Malati. And she said 2 things. One was his instruction was go out and perform Harinam. And she also added that he never instructed not to perform deity worship. I was with His Holiness Radhanath Swami. We were on a yatra in Jaipur during an eclipse. And he explained that the eclipse is considered, you know, say, inauspicious or contaminating. So what we did during the eclipse is we stayed inside. We didn't look at it. We just stayed inside and did chanting and hearing until the eclipse ended. It seems like a safe thing to do. So these are different responses to the question of of eclipse. But would you like to add anything more or ask anything more?
So maybe she has left, Maharaj.
No, I couldn't unmute myself. I was trying frantically. It said I couldn't unmute. But no, thank you, Maharaj. You've answered it so well. And I think Harinam is something very close to our heart. Ever since we moved to Indianapolis, my husband and I, we actually started Harinam here. That was our first service we did. And eventually, a year later, we now have a temple. And slowly we're growing in the community wise. So it's great to hear from you that Harinam, it's a great
Yeah.
we should continue. Yeah.
Where are you?
Haribo, sorry.
Where are you geographically?
We're in Indianapolis. So I was before in England, near Bhaktivedanta Manor. But I got married and moved here about 3 years ago.
Okay. Welcome to America.
Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you for amazing class and all the Q&A. We're so grateful to have your association. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you. Really so much grateful to you because you have taken such a valuable time and shared such a wonderful topic on chanting, which is actually our devotional service is 99% dependent on chanting. So thank you so much for taking such wonderful topic. And yes, we don't have any further questions, but I really grateful and appreciate your patience for answering all questions so patiently and so nicely. So thank you so much, Maharaj, and we really seek your association often. And on behalf of Bhakti Sangha Group, I really appreciate and thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your beautiful, beautiful lecture and question and answer sessions.
Thank you. So to conclude, then maybe we should offer our obeisances to the Vaishnavas.
Yes, yes, Maharaj.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Let us like desired trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripasyubhyecha patitanam bhavebhyo vaishnavebhyo Anantakoti Vaishnava.
Ki jai.
Thank you.
His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your valuable time and association. On behalf of all the organizers of this Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, we invite you again anytime in the future to please come and give us your valuable association. Thank you so much for this enlightening session. Hare Krishna. Very grateful.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Very, very grateful to you. Thank you for coming on the call and giving me your valuable time and association. Very, very grateful to you. Thank you.
So how will we end?
So we all can unmute now. Somehow we are not able to unmute everybody, Maharaj. It's a lot of echoing, but thank you so much once again.
All right. It was my pleasure.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we can end the call. Thank you all so much for joining. And we look forward to getting your association again. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Ekadashi Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Happy Ekadashi.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Happy Ekadashi.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Happy
Thank you for your
Ekadashi,
wonderful
Maharaj.
association, Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Oh, there
Thank
is
you,
Hare Krishna,
Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj.
So much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Happy Ekadashi.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Krishna.
Oh, कितना सुंदर बनाई पेपर से.
लोटस बनाइए.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much.
बहुत क्वेश्चन पूछती.
कौन ये? इनकी बेटी पूछती क्या?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Unmute Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj is on mute.
Doctor Hare
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much. Please bless me.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Munjang.
It's so wonderful.